I'm a believer in God. Our bodies are divine. They have a remarkable capacity to heal themselves. Nothing else heals the body other than the body. And so we can encourage its healing. We can give it what it needs to heal itself. So because of FDA regulations, the way that they regulate speech, particularly as it regards health or disease or functional statements, I can't say that Cardio Miracle is going to do anything for you. Because, we get in trouble. Imagine that. We get in trouble talking about our own health. It's crazy. I was speaking with a former FDA investigator today. He was very, very friendly. But it's fascinating to understand that our speech has been regulated and prohibited about us as free citizens being able to talk about our health to each other. So what I would encourage you all to do is, for my life, I'm an elite athlete. I've trained, basically 6 days a week, 5-6 days a week since I graduated high school. And I'll tell you that I am my best lab rat. So if there's something that I think that I can benefit my body, I'm going to, I'll do the research. And the best way to find out isn't by reading the research, it's by trying it. The first step is to do the research to see if, in fact, there's good faith scientific research done on the topic or on the substance. But because we're all different, we're all different, to determine how that substance is going to interact with my body, pharmacologically, chemically, biologically, I'll give it a try and see what happens. And so we have, at Cardio Miracle, we have a money back guarantee. It's a 60-day money back guarantee. I'll say, forget the 60 days. If you try it and you don't experience an improved feeling of wellness, not to mention improved blood markers, we're happy to give you your money back. Because we want people to try it and experience it. We know what it does. And so, particularly at these times when our bodies, referring back to World War II, Magdalena, the Western Front was the final front of the war. It's where it was lost. Well, the Western Front of this war is our body. And so we need to take it to the enemy. Caring for ourselves, caring for our bodies is primary. And that involves eating well, that involves resting well, that involves social interaction with our friends and family. It involves moving, using our bodies to do what they're supposed to do, which is move. Now, that's, I think, one of the reasons you've seen the plan to solve this alleged pandemic is to keep everybody locked up, not doing anything, and away from each other.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, which is the antithesis of what we should be doing. But that's the plan. So screw the plan.
That's what we say too.
Yeah. So I don't know, Joe, maybe you could put in the chat, just put the
information
website.
so people can get in touch with you guys.
Yeah, and we'll send we can send you an email that you can email out to everybody.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay. Now, as we transition from that conversation, let me tell you a little bit about the litigation that we have going on with David Martin as one of the leaders of the team. We filed a lawsuit on March 3rd in the Federal District Court of Utah against the Biden administration and Health and Human Services. You see the copy of the front page of that complaint here on the left. This is on the website prosecutenow.com. So that lawsuit was filed March 3rd. This lawsuit Magdalena, turns on the meaning of one word. So the purpose of the lawsuit is to terminate the effectiveness, is to terminate the mandate against healthcare workers. Right now, the Biden administration has a mandate in effect that all healthcare workers that work at any facility that receive Medicare or Medicaid resources must be injected or lose their job. The purpose of this case is to terminate that mandate, that it's illegal and unconstitutional. The success of this case will turn on one word, because the administration and Health and Human Services have written the mandate in such a manner that it is solely dependent on immunity. They've made their case that the mandate that everybody has to get injected, the healthcare workers have to get injected because the injection provides immunity. That's the premise. That's the premise of the mandate. Well, of course, we know now that, yeah, Paul, I see you shaking your head. You're right on the money. And Mama Z, Debbie, I see you shaking your head as well, that even the CDC, Fauci, the president of Moderna, the president of Pfizer, have publicly stated, the Inspector General of the WHO has stated publicly that neither the injection nor any of the boosters prevent infection. None of them prevent reinfection. None of them prevent transmission. Well, if they don't do any of that, then what the heck do they do? Right? If they don't do any of those things, then they cannot, under the law, under the 1986 Immunization Act, if they can't provide immunity, they can't satisfy the definition of vaccine. They cannot legally be called vaccines. They don't qualify as a vaccination under the law. And instead, that would then categorize them as a medical therapeutic. Now, the case law in the United States is quite clear from the Supreme Court that you cannot, it is unconstitutional to mandate medical therapeutics. It would be like the government being able to enforce sterilization. So the law on the government's ability to create a mandate for the forcible injection of a medical therapy is unconstitutional. We have a right to decide whether we will submit to a therapeutic or not. So the case turns really on the meaning of a word. And if you heard my presentation at the Go Brandon rally, this is why I spoke about using language conscientiously and being very particular in how we use language and how we label things, even in our common everyday speech. Where we will be able to demonstrate that this injection is not a vaccine, then we will prevail. Because it can't be, if it's not a vaccine, it cannot be in any measure legally enforceable. So that lawsuit was filed on March 3rd. The motion for a preliminary injunction was filed a week ago tomorrow. Was filed last Friday. Actually, while David Martin got up on the stage Friday morning and announced that the preliminary injunction at the Go Brandon rally and announced that the preliminary injunction motion had been filed in this case. So that means that we'll be having a hearing on the preliminary injunction within the next 2 weeks. And then if we succeed, then we'll move to make that a permanent injunction. The government will most certainly appeal, and it'll go up to the Supreme Court ultimately for a final determination. If we do not prevail, we'll be appealing that, but we'll also be pursuing the matter to trial because we intend on doing discovery and subpoenaing government officials and gathering information pursuant to the discovery process, which involves depositions, access to all phone records, emails, texts, phone calls, the whole shoot match. So we're encouraged significantly.
That's
And
fantastic.
I would also tell you that in February, in the case with the CMS mandate versus Missouri, where the U.S. Supreme Court struck down half of this mandate, which was against private businesses that had 100 or more employees. If you remember, this mandate also required all private businesses that had 100 or more employees to have those employees injected, or they had to lose their job. Well, our team drafted the amicus brief that was submitted to the court, upon which the plaintiffs relied. They gave the rationale for the court to just make that decision to terminate that part of the mandate, to decide that it was illegal. So we've already had success on killing half of this mandate. So now the current litigation that was filed in March here in Utah is to deep six the other half. So
Awesome. This is a great news, actually, for all of us.
I'll tell you as
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
Yesterday, our team had worked for a little over 2 months to organize a meeting with Governor DeSantis. Yesterday, that meeting occurred. It was scheduled for 30 minutes. It wrapped up 2 hours later.
Wow.
And so the people at that meeting who presented, the team that I was able to put together for that meeting included Dr. David Martin, Dr. Vladimir Zelenko, and the chief lawyer that worked with our team to put this litigation, the federal litigation lawsuit together that we filed in March, George Wentz. So a formidable team, wonderful team. I'll tell you, it was miraculous. David called me on Sunday to tell me that Zev's handler had called David and said Zev won't be able to make the meeting on Tuesday because his cancer is flared up in the last 2 days and is raging. So he's actually going to be in the hospital on Tuesday for surgery. And of course, we were all disappointed about that because Zev is he's a warrior and fearless. And obviously he's had clinical success treating people and saving thousands and thousands of lives. Well, on Tuesday, I had planned to go out and to be at that meeting. Of course, there were circumstances that were very interesting where I decided not to go. Got a couple of warnings not to go. David called me after the meeting. Oh, the other person at the meeting was John Hewlett, who's the founder of Cardio Miracle, was at the table as well, and the formulator of this Cardio Miracle product. David reporting to me on how the meeting went said, Stan, Zev made the meeting.
Wow.
My response to David was, then God answers the prayers of many. And David said, indeed, he does. Zev had texted him from the hospital coming out of surgery when he was in recovery and said, 11 more minutes in recovery and I'll call you. And he did, and told David, I'm coming.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
We were in search of the meeting because we did hear rumors about that this meeting was going to take place with Dr. David Martin and Zelenko and DeSantis. And we were keeping, earshot out for where could we find the notes or anything on it. So I'd be interested to hear.
We'll put together some notes on it. There's some fabulous people, very good friends of ours who reached out to me to organize that